Chip, is kind of like, actually, I look at the attribution of my best partner or my best 100 partners, and now I can use AI to scrub that against the next 1,000 to figure out actually who's the next best 10 I should focus on. And then what we do is for those 10, we put them on what we call a partner journey.
As a CTO, you have to look at what's the market look like, what's out there, what are customers. You have to balance. There are a lot of things you're balancing, and in some cases you're going to go build something. In some cases you're going to go partner with folks. How do you think through that process? And then talk a little bit about how you engage with partners and what does that sort of co-build process look like?
Yeah, no, great question. We know what we're good at and we stick to, our lane. Where we have, a customer, potentially has a need and we have a product gap, let's call it, or something we're just not going to do. That's when we look for partners.
Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inside Partnering. I'm Chip Rodgers, and I'm here today with a good friend and well-known in the partnership and channel business, Kenneth Fox. Kenneth, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chip. Delighted to be here, and I appreciate you taking the time to bring me on. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I think maybe you could give a little bit of introduction for yourself, but just you're CTO and founder of Channelscaler, and normally based in Ireland, but currently in the Bay Area for a little bit. But kind of tell us a little bit about your background and what brings you to partnerships in this whole crazy world.
Yeah, crazy world is right, Chip. So yeah, no, I've kind of grown up. My whole career has been in channel, in partnership. So I love it. I get a great buzz out of it. So my background is in tech, engineer by trade, then started the company probably 12 or 15 years ago at this stage. And I spend a lot of time in the Bay Area. That's where a huge number of our customers are. It's a great place to get business done. I love it. I come back at least once a month, and sometimes I spend more than a month at a time here. So we, a lot of our customers are here, a lot of our prospects are here, and yeah, like we sell into the enterprise all the time. And when you're doing that, face to face is so important. That's really how you build those partnerships. And we really look at them, Chip, just like the channel. We don't see it as a customer supplier relationship. We very much see it as a partnership. And I think that's why we've been so successful, is we treat each of our customers as a partner, and we want to be a really good partner. And that drives success in itself.
What are you hearing from customers? What are some of the hot topics these days as customers are building their programs and trying to grow their partner programs?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot in there to unpack, Chip. So a lot of the traditional elements of a program still continue. Your incentivization strategy, your marketing strategy, the operationalization of those, your leveling or your tiering programs, and so on. But so we continue to do all of that, and that is table stakes for most vendors. I'll kind of veer towards some of the newer things as well. I'd like, share a little bit about what we're doing with AI, and also some of the new things we do around co-sell and managing the entire channel ecosystem. So I might start there, Chip. So if we talk about co-sell, it's something relatively new. We've released into the market a dedicated module on our platform that deals with a very tricky problem that vendors have, which is providing a space or a tool or a mechanism to help multi-partner deals get over the line. So if you think about, large enterprise customers of ours work on large deals, but they might have 2, 3 more partners working on that deal. Traditionally, how that's managed is a mishmash of spreadsheets, emails, some kind of homegrown solution, you name it. People
Slack.
do it. And it's out of necessity. They have to do it. They have to manage these deals. They're big deals and they're important to their businesses. So what our co-sell brings to the table is a dedicated collaboration space where a vendor can manage multiple partners on a single deal. And in a very short order, here's what it does. It helps both the partner and the vendor understand who's working which part of the deal, what's the next step, who owns that next step, when is it due, and how can I help as a vendor to move that forward? So if you think about it, providing that visibility on a complex deal to a vendor at a level of detail they never had before is really, really, really helpful. And most vendors just don't have that level of scrutiny on those deals at this stage.
It is a tough problem because, to your point, co-selling is a lot more challenging because you have a lot of different partners that are involved, and it's not a pure resell kind of engagement. You're both working together, and it's like you said, a lot of times these are complex deals, and you need to be. It's hard enough coordinating internally with your own sales and product teams, but you start bringing a couple of partners in, and it gets tough.
Yeah, we often joke. We always say we've never seen an overstaffed channel team and having to deal with challenges like this, Chip. Are the real challenges, real revenue, but the companies that are really moving the needle in the channel has become a very complex ecosystem of partners. On those deals, you will have everything from the product resale to the services add-on partner to the vendor themselves, the piece that they might support. So think about that alone. That's just three partners in a single deal. And again, a lot of moving parts. And by having all of those co-sell steps automated, and that automation is quite complex because you're often dealing with, in that example, three CRM systems feeding into a single collaboration space on the
Mm-hmm.
deal. And people have,
Mm-hmm.
everything from they might even call that in customer different names. You have to match up those so everybody knows it's the same deal and so on. So yeah, so that's kind of something we've just launched into the market that it's going down really well. And then other capabilities, we continue to enhance the traditional programs like the partner leveling, like the rebates, deal registration, your partner portal, your content management. But really where we've been driving to on all of the above is with the AI overlay. Over the last 12 plus months, we've invested very heavily in our AI product roadmap. Um, and again, not for the sake of it, because AI is all everybody wants to talk about. We really broke it down into how can AI help my partners on one side, but also we look at it through the vendor lens, who is our customer. How do I help again those account managers who are always strapped for time? They have such a busy job. I always think it's one of the toughest jobs in the industry, is being an account
Right.
manager, managing 20 accounts and so on. So if you think about what we've done on the platform, is we now have a very agentic driven experience. If I'm a partner and I go to register a deal, the agent will prompt them and say, if I'm answering this question, here's the relevant piece of content, or this deal already exists, etc. On the vendor side, I log in and now I'll have my agent will tell me, you've got 5 deals in your queue. If they drill into one of those deals, now the agent is smart enough, or the AI underlay is smart enough to say, actually, this deal looks, feels, and might already be registered. And our job again is to help the vendor not let duplicate deals get created on their CRM. So if you think about it, we're
Mm-hmm.
always doing the shift left approach, ensuring cleanliness in their partner management tools, their opportunities on their CRM, whatever that might be. Moving to that AI-led experience versus the traditional where you have to search for, does this deal exist? And again, it's laborious, has to be done, but it's also human error comes into the equation where the agent doesn't get tired, it continues to search. Other examples, I suppose, Chip, of that are, we looked at things like automating the MDF claim process. So again, it's a lot of heavy lifting, people looking for proofs of performance, making payments. So we've brought in full AI automation to automate your claims, and it's very smart. It does everything from translations to, was this invoice or receipt ever used before? It's a lot smarter than a human in many ways, and things like that. And we put a percentage confidence level, so you don't have to fully trust it. You can say, if this claim is 80% good, let it through. But if it's less than 80%, I actually still need one of my team to look at it. So there, some of the examples of AI. I can give you more as we go through the conversation, but it will eventually, Chip, I suppose, look into the future. Our view is, when a partner logs on, it's going to be very much an agent-led experience instead of the traditional portal. Now, the way we've looked at it is, we're still going to let the partner drill down into the portal, because you have all make shapes and sizes that we deal with. Some of them will still want to get to the portal. So we always leave that behind the scenes, that if they say, I want to click through, they can click through. So on the partner side, that agentic experience is everything from you have this deal, or you need to claim your rebate, or you have a fund request about to run out, to guess what, you need to get one more cert or you're going to lose your gold status tier, etc. So really trying to help the partner, make it really easy, give them that visibility in a single click or a single view. And that all leads back to the old Chip. I'm sure you've been at it long enough to know ease of doing business is the single biggest pain point in the channel. If you are the
Yeah.
vendor that it's easiest to work with, you will be the vendor that wins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And when you talk about partner satisfaction, that's a big one right there. Just make it easy for me to partner with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about, Kenneth, your CTO. Channelscaler is in the partner technology business, but you also have partners as well. So talk a little bit about that. And as a CTO, you have to look at what's the market look like, what's out there, what are customers. You have to balance. There are a lot of things you're balancing, and in some cases you're going to go build something. In some cases you're going to go partner with folks. How do you think through that process? And then talk a little bit about how you engage with partners and what does that sort of co-build process look like?
Yeah, no, great question. So yeah, we definitely value those types of partnerships. Let's call them technology alliance partnerships. And we believe very deeply in the channel. We are a channel company. We do latch onto those partnerships. I suppose to answer your question, Chip, we know our limits, if you like. We know what we're good at, and we stick to our lane. Where we have a customer potentially has a need, and we have a product gap, let's call it, or something we're just not going to do, that's when we look for partners. A couple of examples to boot are, we run a huge number of incentives, be that rebates, spiffs, MDF, lots of payouts. We work with XTRM, or Extreme as they're known as. That's a payments engine. We're very deeply integrated. It's a very seamless experience, but that takes a huge amount of pain away for our customers, that we completely automate not alone the calculation of the rebate or incentive or spiff, or the management of the MDF funds. When a partner comes to make their claim, we actually now just move the money as well, basically pay them on the spot. And we do that through a great technology alliance partner, XTRM. We've worked with them for probably 10 years at this stage, and it's all done through APIs, very seamless, works really well, very robust platform. So that's a great example of really, really good partnership. We've again brought each other customers along the way as well. They've had needs that we fulfill, and vice versa. But the biggest thing for me is that helps our customers improve their partner satisfaction ratings ultimately, and it takes away a lot of heavy lifting from even their finance teams running payments that they just don't need to run. It's already all calculated, etc. If we, beyond that, we have other people we work with. Structured are another great partner. They do TCMA. That's something we're never going to do. There are really great solutions out there to do it. We look for the best. We found Structured. We partner with them. So when we go into a deal with a new customer that they're looking for TCMA, we just plug in Structured, and they fill that piece of the equation, and then so on. And another one is Partner Tap. So we're doing a lot of work with Partner Tap, on, I suppose, identifying the white space, as they call it. And if, even the piece I touched on earlier, that we've recently released, a full co-sell capability into the channel, we kind of can work now with Partner Tap end to end. They're identifying those opportunities with partners that they didn't know existed, the vendor didn't know existed. They start to then work those opportunities, and guess what? They're now using co-sell to manage those opportunities across the partner. So you can kind of see the end to end, from very top of funnel to closing an opportunity, all the way through, that between ourselves and Partner Tap, we can manage that entire ecosystem for a customer.
So what drives that process? Is it the need from customers? Is it you're looking at the overall market landscape? What brings that together? What sort of inspires the idea to, hey, let's go talk to?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, Chip. Yeah, honestly, we're obviously always looking at the market landscape. We're looking at what's coming next, talking to the analysts, folks like yourself as well, that's kind of at the coal face and understands that if we go back 5 or more years, the channel was a lot flatter than it is today in terms of the number and types of partners that are out there. Typically, it used to be resale and distribution, and now we have probably 13 or 14 different partner types. Some people would say more. So you have to deal with all of those sales motions, and we're
Mhm.
constantly looking at that. And what does that mean? Well, that means I now have a referral partner, so I need a referral program. To us, doing a referral program is definitely right in our wheelhouse. That's something we're going to develop, or something we have developed, but we brought that in along the way, that people can run the referrals. But when they wanted to pay the referrals out, we said we're not going to be a payments engine. So we go and we find the best in breed and we plug them in, and that delivers a total solution for our customers or our joint customers. Something like co-sell, very complicated, a lot of moving parts. Again, that's something that's front and center of what we do, the space we work in. We would already have had a number of those pieces on the platform. It was a case of kind of plugging it all together, adding some additional functionality, and that's much faster route to market to have co-sell than trying to find somebody else to do it. So yeah, we look at it from both angles. It's the answer chip, and there's no one answer, right? You have to take each individual case on its own merits and see, does it make sense for us to add that on versus plug somebody else in? And sometimes it's a combo of both.
So then I assume you're also co-selling with them as well.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
absolutely are. Yeah. Yeah. And we have, as Biology, Submarinian Biology is our chief partnering officer. I think
Yep.
you actually done
Biology's
an
awesome.
interview with him
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Long time channel leader, etc. So he's come from that side to our side, and yeah. So people like that we even have our own co-sell. We even have our own program that we invite partners to participate in. We give them at their own portal. We give them benefits of the program. So we actually run our own program for partners, alliance partners, technology partners, etc.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love just the idea that not only do you have customers, but you're customer zero, customer one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, yeah, as we say, we drink our own champagne or eat our own dog food. It matters, but it does. Yeah, you learn things from doing it. We've learned things from doing it ourselves that we probably hadn't thought about, that we know, then we build it into the platform, and that helps our customers in turn, and we bring new ideas to the table. And some of it is chip, some of it is customer. We're very lucky. We have hundreds of vendors who use our platform globally. We work with literally hundreds of thousands of partners, and we're all ears, right? We're always listening for what is the next idea, what do people need, etc. So, and again, it's back to what I said at the very start. It's that partnership approach that we learn, and we run a lot of events ourselves, whether it's AI for the channel or how best to run an MDF program, because the traditional programs are still front and center of what most vendors do. That's the reality, and that's what most partners expect, and that is table stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's shift back to we touched a little bit on AI, but let's talk about AI again. Generally, I think there's a lot of, I don't know, apprehension and questions about AI, and is our agents going to take over the world? And where are the people in this whole process? What are your thoughts around that, and especially as a CTO, like you're thinking about all of this technology and how it should be applied?
Yep. Yeah. So, well, I'm not one of those people that think AI is going to take over the world. Quite the opposite. I think it's a great tool, great solution, great platform. We work very closely with Microsoft. We leverage, a lot of the Microsoft services for AI. But I would say, I suppose, Chip, just out of the box, it's only as good as the data you give us, right? That's the
Mhm.
reality. It's not
Mhm.
it's not doing something that is magic. It's just not. But it is changing the landscape. It is changing how people think about it. I would say the most thing is it's changing the user experience, right? We didn't have agents however long ago. It will become an agentic led experience for partners and vendors. So from that perspective, it's definitely changing the landscape, and we got to think about it. It's also changing how we share data, right? So, we're putting a lot of work right now into how do we, build integrations? How do we share that data without even somebody ever needing to come to the platform, etc. That's important, because that's kind of, I see that as the future. So One other big area we didn't touch on when it comes to AI is kind of the insights, right? So we kind of think about it probably in three big swim lanes. One is around frictionless or ease of doing business. The second swim lane is around removing operational obstacles, like workflow automation, etc. And then the third one
Hmm.
is around insights. So if you think about, I'm a channel leader, I have 100 or I have 1,000 partners. I always know the 80/20 or 90/10 rule, Chip. I know who's generating the most revenue.
Right.
What they often struggle with is who's my next best 10 or 20 or 30, whatever it is, your number is depending on the size of your channel.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we're leveraging AI to figure out all of that massive data we have, who are actually the next best ones. If I'm a cyber tech vendor, if I'm a telecoms vendor, if I'm a networking vendor, we look across the piece. We've over 10 years of data, of transactional data that we can look at to decide. And again, AI is a lot faster than the traditional methods of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take that down a level, Chip, it's kind of like, actually, I look at the attribution of my best partner or my best 100 partners, and now I can use AI to scrub that against the next 1,000 to figure out actually who's the next best 10 I should focus on. And then what we do is for those 10, we put them on what we call a partner journey. So we have another module on the platform called Partner Journey Automation. Now, when you say that, Chip, often people think about onboarding or recruiting, but it isn't at all. A partner journey in the channel can happen at any time. It could happen with your 10 most mature partners or your 10 newest or your 10 in the middle. And the vendors that I see are being very successful and very smart about it are using that partner journey automation module to run partner journeys with everything from onboarding to upskilling to even
Mm-hmm.
taking their top ones and putting them on what they call a revenue journey. And they might say, I want my top 10 to earn 100 million more, and here's how. I want X net new logos. I'm going to give you these leads. I'm going to give you some marketing dollars. But where it really helps, Chip, is it's the tracking of all of that. And that comes back to, again, to visibility of what is the partner doing? What is the account manager doing? Who is the next step with that? So a little bit like co-selling, our partner journey automation module gives you nice visual experience about, we call it stages and steps. Who is the next step with all the time? So you really can put your foot on their throat to make sure that could be an internal person, by the way, often
Right.
is. The
Right.
problem is not the partner at all. It's often the vendor that is the culprit. And it's not that they mean to be, it's just they didn't know it before they put the process in place. We're using AI all the time to figure out these, churn through that data and say to a VP of channels, actually, these 10 or 100 partners are the ones you should be focusing on next because they're the diamonds in the rough that you never could figure out before, have all the attributes, or they might have 90% of the attributes. And if you do this with them, guess what? They're a perfect match. So, yeah, that's a hard thing to do, I suppose, Chip. And that's where, I think we bring a lot of value to the table.
That's really interesting. You think of like in the marketing space, like a Sixth Sense or those kinds of products that are looking at behavior overall and saying, hey, here's the highest propensity. What are some of the inputs that go into that model for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great analogy, actually. That is, yeah, you're right on the money, Chip. That's effectively what it is, right? And yeah, we do look at all of the attributes of the partner. That could be revenue, number of deals. So again, value versus volume or volume versus value, whichever way you want to say it. Certifications, have they run your demo programs? What in customer base have they sold into? Geographies. Look, I could go on. The list is infinite. But
Yeah.
if you have all of that attribution,
Yeah.
you can get really smart with AI and machine learning, by the way. It's not just AI, it's a bit of ML as well in there that figures out of these 100 or 200 attributes, you're kind of rubbing one against the other to see, well, this guy has all of these, he's been really successful. And often it comes down to training. Did that partner have the buy-in to
Mm.
do, to get the 5 engineers trained or whatever it is,
Mhm.
sales engineers, whatever that might be. But to figure out that without, a dashboard that we provide them it's a hard thing to do all that data analysis. So
Yeah.
think about it. It's akin to giving you a data scientist on a platform to do all that data manipulation or data analysis and give you back what you need. So it's very much like, as you said, the Sixth Sense technology, which helps with, lead generation.
Yeah. And you still need people to be able to manage the relationships, right?
That's it. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely, that's huge for me, right? No matter what. And that's what I would say to the team every day. It's so, so important that we're meeting our customers in person. We're getting on the
Mhm.
phone, whatever it is, or make a shape. It's not, AI is never going to replace that. It's just not, right? We can
Yeah,
give an agent, we can do all the help, but it doesn't answer everything. It's not a human relationship. And certainly when you move into the enterprise and you're doing big deals, it is people buy off people chip. That's the old adage.
right.
It's as true today
That's
as it was
that's
50
that's
years
why
ago.
you're in the Bay Area
That's right.
weeks every month.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Nice. So, Kenneth, this has been awesome. Just another kind of question on my mind. We touched on attribution, but how do you think about, I think, sort of the connected issues, challenges that partner leaders have with attribution and then measurement? How do you think through that process?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you kind of brought that up because I always say this: you can only manage what you measure, right? So a big part of what we do, and this is something on every program chip you run on the platform, we will give the vendor a dashboard to show them how is that program performing, and it's not just attribution. So if you think about overall partner engagement, we give a scorecard. You have 500 partners. Well, guess what? You don't really have 500 partners. You might have signed up 500 partners, but only
Right.
110 of them have ever actually done anything with you. So stop wasting your time with 390 because it's expensive to keep partners, right? And the list goes on. I set up my deal registration. I can show you now literally everything from who registered a deal for which end customer, what was the cycle time to approve that deal, shine a spotlight on where are the delays in the process, right through to, I'm running an incentive out of the eligible partners, how many qualified, who hit stretch targets. And coming back to your question on attribution, again, it's amazing when you start to look at who done what, why they've done it, and who didn't, you will start to see trends in there. And those trends will come down to, how engaged they were, what trainings maybe they took, how long they've been on board. There's so many, there's no one answer, by the way. But if you're looking at those attributes, you can start to figure out the trends that show the partners that are being more successful based on level of engagement than are not, etc. And then what that does is in turn is it lets you use your scarce enough resources in your channel teams to focus on the partners that are winning and grow the business basically.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, just last point on that chip just popped into my mind is that's where again we've seen good companies really leveraging once they spot those now almost like running a partner journey or a business plan to make sure that we're on the same page. We signed you up to do this, Mr. Partner. You joined us to do this. Are we really doing that? So, even to that end, we do business planning. We have a module for business planning, but we call it like it's online business planning. This isn't something you do once a quarter, put in a drawer, go out for dinner and a beer and come back a quarter later. And guess what? It's still the same, right?
Kenneth, this has been fantastic. Really appreciate you taking some time and sharing your thoughts and unique perspective on the industry. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Delighted to do it. Yeah.
Are you still in the Bay Area for a while, or when do you head back?
I'm heading back. I know I get home Saturday. Yeah. So packing up Friday night and heading home, Chip. Yeah. I've been here 3 weeks. So
Oh
it's
my
time
gosh.
to
Yeah,
go home and show my face before the dog doesn't know me. When your own dog barks at you, Chip, you've been away too long. So, yeah.
I'm sure it'll be good to be back home.
Yeah,
Okay.
good. Yeah, it was great. Thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully it came over okay.
Likewise, likewise. So, Kenneth, thank you for joining, and thank you all for joining another episode of Inside Partnering, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.